Hi, it's Scores, and welcome back to my channel. So in the most recent update of the tragic comic that is my life, my computer has kind of died on me. It's basically really unusable right now because the keyboard just decided to stop working. So I had already filmed this video, and I had even filmed journaling sections. God, my dog is going crazy now. I had even filmed journaling sections and everything, and then obviously I completely lost all of that. So I now have to quickly refilm, and on my phone because I can't even use my regular camera, and I'm gonna have to edit this on my phone as well. So okay. So just if this video is worse quality than what you've come to expect from me, that is why. If this video is better quality than what you've come to expect from me, then yikes. Okay, so with that out of the way, I wanted to talk today about a book. So this is actually my very first book tour that I've ever participated in, so I'm really excited that my very first book tour is for a book that I've actually loved for years and that I really enjoyed. And so I want to just thank the Hear Our Voices book tour company for giving me this opportunity, and I'm really excited to share this book with you. So the book that I'm going to talk about, if you are somehow unaware, is called Always Human by Ari North, and it was a webcomic that is now being published in physical copy, and I read it when it was being published on Webtoon. I think 5 years ago is when it was originally published on Webtoon, and I read it back then, and I really loved it. It is a really sweet, great book, and so now I'm really excited, and I was really happy to get the opportunity to read it again and to have that experience again. So it is a sapphic love story between two girls, one of whom it basically set in this sci-fi sort of future where you can purchase sort of these nanobots that can help change your appearance very sort of easily and quickly, and so you can have these mods. Basically it's about this girl who has a sort of physical, God, it's this is, I'm so sorry if the audio is terrible today. It's basically about this one of the girls has an autoimmune issue, or I believe it's an autoimmune issue where she's unable to use these nanobots. So she is, she's completely sort of natural looking, which is very unusual sort of for the community and for sort of the world in this future. And one day the main character, Sonati, she sees this girl, Austin, and she's really drawn to her because she looks so natural. And then it's kind of a very sweet meet cute from there. It's super fluffy, it is so endearing, and it's one of those things that you just read and it's just a cloud, because it's just soft and it makes you feel so warm. So when I first read it 5 years ago, I was really excited just because it was I think probably one of the first, if not the first, sort of story I'd read where I'd seen a brown sort of sapphic character. I'd never seen that in media before, and it was just so kind of eye-opening for me, or it felt really nice to see sort of myself represented, especially sort of growing up. It was definitely sort of not something that you ever really saw, was that brown characters were allowed to be portrayed as LGBT, and definitely not, you know, like brown women. So I like really loved that aspect. And coming back to it now, you know, sort of 5 years on, you know, now sort of having been diagnosed with like disabilities and stuff like that, I think the representation is even more meaningful for me, because I really like the way that Austen's condition is sort of represented. And normally I kind of shy away from like sort of sci-fi fantastical depictions of disability, just because sort of they often tend to, you know, like shy away from like the either the realities of being disabled, or for sort of like whatever reason it feels like the stories are being written about disability, but sort of the author is still afraid of disability, or you know, like patronizing. It just doesn't ring true. But I think what Always Human does really well with its depiction, even though it's sort of like a fantastical sort of like condition in terms of the way that it's depicted in the novel, it deals with disability in like a very nuanced way. I think it deals with the struggles that Austen faces, and also her triumphs very equally. And I think I really like the message that it has, that, you know, disabled people are not out here to be your sort of inspirational porn. You know, they're not there just to like make you feel great about yourself, or like, you know, look at how hard this person has it, like, don't you feel lucky? You know, like disabled people have, you know, like they're people beyond their disability. But acknowledging that also doesn't mean that you can't acknowledge that the fact that they're disabled and that they do have struggles that they do have to, you know, deal with and overcome. And I think the nuance that Austen's story is depicted, like the nuance with which Austen's story is depicted in this novel, really, you know, it really sort of rung true for me. I think it is done so well, so meaningfully, that I would highly recommend it as sort of disabled representation as well, especially for people with, you know, invisible illnesses and chronic illnesses. I think you may be able to find yourself represented in this story. The other thing that I really liked about this story was that it's set in Australia, which you don't often see. I think in general, at least, I very rarely see, you know, sort of like more mainstream books that are set in Australia. And on top of that, you know, like having a sapphic romance set in Australia just like makes me feel good about myself. So I really like that. And in terms of the art, I think the art and the like just the look of the book is like so gorgeous. It's got a really soft, sort of gentle coloring style that I think is like very impactful and works very well with the story. There are some very beautiful backgrounds as well in some of like the outside and nature scenes. It's really nice. The only thing that I think may annoy some readers is the fact that because it is being converted from a webtoon format, which is like a vertical scrolling format, to a print copy, if you're extremely nitpicky about layout, it may slightly irritate you, sort of like the way that space is used. Obviously, because it's like the drawings are not 100% meant to, like, they're not designed to fit this format. So if you're super nitpicky about that, it may impact your reading experience. But honestly, like, I think you'd have to be super duper particular if that like made any significant impact in your enjoyment of this story. other than that, I think the art style is great. I think it's just a nice book to read. Like, I can't sort of explain this enough. It's just like enjoyable to read. It's so sweet. And I also, like, another kind of like weird side tangent, but I like all of the character designs are really interesting and very clear. I like how the characters are kind of color coded in terms of like what they wear, and you know, like their speech bubbles and stuff match, and they all have like very interesting and cool designs, especially because you're able to you know, like in this fantasy world, you're able to switch around your appearance like so kind of drastically. So like people have like cat eyes and stuff like that, which I think is really cool. And I also like how it just generally plays with the sci-fi concept while still feeling like very realistic. It feels very sort of like low sci-fi in this way, even though it's very futuristic, because it stays very grounded and it cares a lot about or sort of like a sub question or a sub theme that it has is, you know, when you are living in this very techno-futurist world, how do people interact with sort of nature and with the natural when everything is kind of like changing and developing and technology is so central in our lives? Where do we find this place for the things that are sort of like natural and organic? And I think that's a really interesting theme. If you're looking for a book that deals with that in like a very complex and like wants to have a philosophical discussion about that, I don't necessarily think that you're going to find this very high level discussion, but in Always Human. However, I do think that it does play with this question in a really fun and interesting way. And it definitely has, you know, in the background to the romance, it makes the entire world feel more full. So altogether, I think that this Always Human is like a great book. It's definitely a 4.5 star read for me. I really loved it. I like can't recommend it enough if you just want something that is like cute and sweet and that is a easy and digestible read. You just like want some good sapphic romance, then I would highly recommend you pick this up and support Ari North with this like amazing release. I'm so happy to see that this webcomic that was like so influential and meaningful for me as a teenager is now able to be published in physical form. So thanks for dealing with this video. I hope the quality isn't too poor. Interested in seeing my journal spread and playlist for this book, I will leave the link to my Instagram posts below. You can also find me on Instagram at Sasha Journals and shcores. You can find me on Twitter also at shcores_. And I will hopefully try and post more frequently, especially when my computer is repaired. So, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video.